Hi ladies, I just wanted to come on here because I just did a very filling. This is week 4 for the art of becoming, and honestly, this is the most important work ever. I had a very huge realization today, and just because I am teaching something, it doesn't mean that I don't go through triggers, and I don't teach this from a place that, oh, I've did it and I'm a master at it. I mean, I know what I'm doing. However, triggers are going to show up because that's what it makes us evolve. Okay? Everyone in this planet, in this earth, is here in this world, in earth, to evolve. So how do we evolve? By conquering our triggers, by conquering what is bothering us, by conquering and accomplishing our goals, by doing something different. If we are stuck, it's because something is not working. If you don't realize that, you have to do something different. You have to change what you're doing. You have to be the frequency, change the frequency, what you're vibrating at, because doing the same, what hasn't been working, is going to keep you in the same place. So I just wanted to come on here because I wanted to share what happened today. It's going to sound very, I don't know how it's going to sound, but I needed to share. So I've been doing this deep inner work. It's part actually of my daily life now. We don't know how much we're holding on to until you do this inner work. So what happened in the morning, I was going to the gym. As I was in the gym, I felt super sad and I didn't have any reason. So I was very emotional. I didn't know why. Yesterday was Mother's Day and I couldn't be with my mom. I'm going to visit her soon. I felt very emotional I think I was listening to a song and it reminded me of my mom, my grandmother, and I had the pleasure of meeting my great-grandmother. Not a lot of people have that opportunity to actually live with them or even experience their great-grandmothers. So anyway, as I was doing my workout, I was finishing up my workout, I was feeling very emotional and tears started to come up. So I was like, what's going on? So right then in the gym, I didn't have my journal, so I took out my phone and I started writing what's going on. I don't know what it is about this, but I feel very sad. Yesterday, for some reason, I just felt like I needed to post. Yesterday was Mother's Day, so I felt like I needed to post something of my mom on Instagram, and it was a photo of me and her, but it was when I was born or something like that, within the first weeks that I was born. And I captioned the photo, made the best decision in every situation. And I can't believe I'm sharing this, but I feel cold to share it. She had me at a very young age, and I feel like I'm super different than a lot of people. I don't relate a lot with overgiving, but I wouldn't go overboard. I wouldn't lose myself for a friend or family member because I've seen people I love done it, and I see how that affects in your life, and clearly see how being true to yourself, honoring your decisions, is for your own good, rather than being in a situation just because you want to be liked or just because you want people to be content with your decisions. I can see how being in that situation can make me feel way more resentful, or maybe in a situation that I would never want to be in. As I posted this photo and I quoted and said the words of, hey, you made the best decision you could. She had me when she was 21. This is super deep. As for my grandma, another story, she was in a situation where the man that she was with didn't want to have the child, my mom. So I can clearly see how all the things that they had to do because they thought they were right, this deep generational wound doesn't go back just with my mom. It goes back to my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-great-great-great-great-grandmother. It stops with me because I get to choose differently, because I get to decide what to do. I have seen the chain of sacrifice, the cycle over I have to, over I want to. Those are completely different things. If you ever get to see a woman because she has to do something, you'll get a completely different result from a woman that wants to do that same thing. I was feeling so emotional today because of this, and I didn't know I was carrying all of this pain. I was carrying this pain because I was carrying their pain, and when I released it, it was like I was cutting off the backpacks that I had been carrying in my shoulders. I honor and respect every decisions they made, but now I choose my life with love, not from obligation. Ladies, it's been a while since I actually shared about my triggers because it's been something that's, I get the triggers, but it's a different kind of state nowadays. I continue to do the work. I continue to asking myself the questions in order to figure out what it is to be healed today. It's not like every day you have a different healing, but in the beginning it seems like that. Nowadays it's different. It may sound woo-woo what I just said before about healing generations, like 6 generations before me, but once you heal, you do that. You get to heal 6 generations back and 6 generations forward. Okay. I'm a little bit too excited right now, so let me take a deep breath. I want to tell you and talk to you about the person that I have become by doing the work, because it's so toxic before. I would attract the wrong partner. I mean, right now it all makes sense since I know my patterns, I know what my wounds are, what my shadow work is. But from a place of confusion, from a place of lack, from a place of scarcity, you don't really know what's going on. You don't really know the reason why you get to choose the partners that you get to choose. The person that I was before this work, I was super toxic. I wanted to find success, I wanted attention, but it was just a wheel of scarcity, of like a wheel of energy, of low vibration energies, and I would just continue to attract them. I didn't know that it was all I was basing off my past experiences with what I was going through back then. If I were to talk to you about what I've been through or what my triggers were, you probably think that I'm super toxic, but I share them from a place that I've done the work. I'm human. Like, triggers will show up until the day that you die. So before, I used to be jealous. So let me tell you, I would be so cool, fun, wouldn't really put a lot of time in the wrong that was going on in my life. That was when I was single. But if I were to get in a relationship, everything would change. I would abandon myself, I would abandon my business, I would just be like, oh, I'll take care of it later, you know, I just want to relax and not do anything. My energy was all into the guy that I was with, and I thought that that was the ideal love. That was the love that you're supposed to give. This is crazy because the situations that I've been put on, I'm sure if I had a job or if I had if I wouldn't have been in the situations that I was put on, they were perfect to heal my wound, abandonment wound. Most people have like abandonment wounds, betrayal, humiliation. It depends. Rejection wound. So they all depends which ones you have. Most people have all of them, but some of them are more enhanced than the others. My entire life was not built to build it with a partner. Okay? And that makes sense because I grew up with parents that were separated. I didn't really have a model of a good relationship other than what I saw in movies. So what do you usually see in movies? Things that are not real, things that are not the full picture, things that you don't really know how to navigate until you take courses. I of course took courses on how to like get the man, on how to have a good communication, etc. Like the list goes on, and how many books that I got. I love reading. But now it all came down to the way that I was being, to the way that I portray myself, the way that I answer, the way that my perspective was. I wasn't vibrating at a good and a high frequency, so I would attract scarcity. I would attract situations that I didn't like and situations that I didn't want to be in. I remember I would always isolate myself. I'm a very social person, so like I love being with friends, and I also love working, and there has to be a balance between the two, you know? Anyway, I was two different people while I had a relationship. And if I wanted to have a healthy relationship, I had to change the way that I was. If I wanted to have a conscious and fulfilling relationship that would actually fulfill me and would actually make me evolve into the next version of myself, I had to change. I went through this hard and horrible breakup because I was super toxic and I was super unconscious. I would be so jealous. I would be even jealous about my boyfriend's family. Like I didn't want to spend time with their family because I was abroad. I was living in Mexico for a certain time of year, and my family wasn't there. My family's like actually everybody's spread out. Right now my mom's living in New York, and my brother and my dad is living in Peru. However, I didn't want to be in his circle because I didn't find it, I actually don't even know the reason. I guess I wanted all his attention on me because I would get really triggered by other people, you know. I would get triggered for silly things that right now, if I share to you, you probably think that I'm crazy. But anyway, that's not the situation right now. I really feel called to share this because yes, I learned how to manage these triggers, because each trigger tells a story that you're holding on to, tells a story that it's keeping you small. And it's not going to make you succeed in any area. So I had the bikini business, the swimwear business, the activewear business, but at one point I didn't want to do it anymore. I'm not a person who quits, usually. So we broke up and I wanted to be better. I was like, let me get myself a therapist, let me do the work, let me get a coach, let me get on some courses. I studied personality. I studied the Enneagram. I studied how to get the right partner. I studied love by a psychologist. So it doesn't matter how many information that you put on in your mind. It matters if you actually embody the information, if you actually do the work and integrate it in your daily life. So if you tell me right now you're reading this book, next year you probably won't remember it. You probably remember like something about it, but you won't remember the details of it. really just wanted to share how deep the deep work that I've done. And as time goes by, it gets easier. It gets easier to identify what you're going through and to release whatever your body is holding on to. So nothing, I hope you find the truth in what I'm saying. I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing night, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.